Hello, everyone, and welcome back to D&D&D&D&D campaign number 2 of Black Ink and Blue Blood. When we last left off, the party began their diplomatic meeting, hoping to avert the Battle of Rosewick, as a besieging army that outnumbered them 7-1 stood outside their gates. Meeting with the Queen Wyborn, the President Ergos, and the Queen Tabedra, the party sat down for negotiations. Zephyr retrieved the resurrected spirit of his father and reunited him with his queen. The two happily embraced and reunited as the king and Caleb had one last head-to-head for control of Tabedra before the king conceded defeat. However, before a peaceful resolution could be completely reached, the Wolfhound, a mysterious, seemingly immortal assassin, struck, instantly killing the king and forcing him to abandon the queen before his experimented on body detonated, wounding the princess and angering the queen. As a fight broke out, Queen Wyborn and President Ergos pleaded their innocence. However, they made it clear they were rather indifferent to the affair itself, simply re-extending their invitation for you to come to the next ball, the Winter's Ball, where Wyborn will be hosting it in her capital city, much to the controversy of the surrounding kingdoms. As you all prowled the city, gathering reinforcements and searching for this assassin as the enemy army calmly retreats, the Wolfhound seems to have simply vanished into thin air, not even leaving a magical trace behind. Meanwhile, What's-His and Lucien heard from Caleb's report from the guards that Haleli had finally managed to finish the job she had inflicted on herself and had mutated, forcing the two to intervene and, after a struggle, put the beast down. However, in a moment of mercy and kindness, you have injected her with a stabilization formula. It remains to be seen if a three-way contest can emerge with equal victors. I've already made the deciding rolls on that and calculations behind the scenes. I will give you the results when we get to you. But as you await the results of that experiment, Caleb.
Yes.
By this point, it is about mid-afternoon, and you return to the square with not a trace of the Wolfhound being found, as you make your way to the tower to hope an elevated position may assist you in spotting anything amiss in the city. However, as you do so, passing through the square, you see that Summer has not moved. She is stooped on her knees over the tattered remains of her father. Your mother is still nowhere to be found, not being seen since she turned invisible and began stalking the assassin who assassinated her lover. Neither your friends nor family, other than her, are anywhere to be seen, and the Tabedrans have scattered into the surrounding alleyways in a panic after the assassination.
So
Caleb, oh, oh, go on.
I'm guessing he doesn't really see much of anything. Also, that is the fastest growing tree I've ever seen in my goddamn life.
Let's focus, people. And yeah, as I said, from your investigation of the town, you haven't turned up anything, but you can still make your way to the tower to get that elevated view you wanted in the last session if you wish.
Okay, I guess he'll do that.
All right. Roll perception. I'll give you advantage since you have an elevated view and you know this area pretty well.
Okay, hold on. Where is my dice? There they are. Perception. Pause. Caleb. Just grab a dice.
Do
That
you need me to roll?
I'm good. I got everything right here. Why is the UI so weird? I'll deal with that later. Perception.
Yes.
It's gonna be a 21.
All right. Caleb, as you ascend the tower and emerge, you can see there's still some scattered blood from Zephyr and the Wolfhound's initial knife fight. Putting your hands around the bloodstains, you lean over the ramparts and scour your sharp eyes over the landscape of Rosewick and the surrounding Sprintwood. You see nothing that indicates suspicious activity. Most of the Tabedrans have either retreated into the alleys or are skulking on the walls. You can see the enemy army is beginning to break camp and retreat. Abandoned by Queen Wyborn, President Ergos now has the responsibility of leading the army back. They are visibly pretty demoralized, but in terms of the killer, even from this position, you see nothing, and you have searched the town from below and above. You have searched the castle from all directions, arcane and otherwise. At this point, you're as confident as you can get that if this killer can be tracked, you and your party are seemingly incapable of it. Nobody, not you or your companions, has found any trace of the Wolfhound.
Interesting. So he's just gone?
As it seems, like I said, not even a blade of grass bent to indicate that they were here. It's as if they warped into reality, assassinated the king, and then vanished back out of reality just as quickly. The only sign he was even here to begin with being that the king still lay dead. Rest in pieces.
Rest in peace.
Is there anything else you would like to do, Caleb?
I guess I'll go see if there's anything going on with the elves downstairs. See if they've dealt with the problem yet.
All right. Making your
The
way out.
elves.
Making your way out of the tower, you start making your way to Castle Rosewick. Zephyr, is there anything you would like to attend to during the rest of the day?
Well, as I mentioned, I went back to my room. Then I realized I needed. I was gonna go pick up my.
You left something, but you left a piece of yourself behind, so to speak. So you need to retrieve that.
Yeah.
Which you can easily do so. Caleb, as you're leaving the tower, you see Zephyr emerging from the castle, retrieving a forgotten belonging from the walls before the two of you make your way inside, splitting off into opposite directions once you hit the second floor, unless one of you wishes to follow the other. Zephyr, as Caleb makes his way to the dungeons upstairs, what would you like to do now that you have all of your belongings with you?
Wow. Zephyr's gonna go back to his original plans. Gonna go lay down.
All right, it's been a long day. You crawl into bed, curl up, and prepare to rest for the night. And now we turn our attention to the dungeons as the heir apparent makes his way upstairs. Caleb, Zephyr, your father is a stubborn man. He has made it the creed of his very kingdom to survive at all costs. When his father threatened to kill him for the perceived murder of his mother, the king had him killed. Survive. When his people threatened to rebel against him and follow someone more qualified and trustworthy, he had potential usurpers killed, or at least a happy accident made that happen. Survive. Survive. He gathered tools and weapons to his side, lining his family and belt with anything that would increase his lifespan. Survive, survive, survive. When age threatened him, your sister kept him alive. When the world threatened him, your mother protected him. When outsiders threatened them, Caleb cut their throats. And when others had more than him and threatened to overpower him that way, Zephyr picked their pockets. Survive, 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 survive. Now he's been poisoned
Interesting.
and assassinated. Surely, this is the end of King Tabedra's story. The three-way combination had an exactly 50% compatibility. The bare minimum he needed to be able to live on. But even then, just because they can be compatible doesn't mean they will be. Just as you put three people in a small room together, even if they're alike in mind and soul, does not mean they're necessarily going to get along. Different people have different experiences, different mindsets, different goals and objectives. For this to happen, I'm going to tell you exactly what transpired behind the scenes to really get across to you what your father is going through. The exact 50% compatibility means that on a D100, he had to get either above a 50 or below a 50 3 times in a row without interruption. And he succeeded.
Did he now, or did you decide this sounds more interesting?
Actually, I swear to God, I'm looking. The dice are right in front of me. Hand to God.
If you want, I can go and look.
I rolled a 95, a 69, nice, and a
Noise.
61. Then he had to not succumb to the wounds Lucien and put him through. 3 successful death saves without 3 failures, or a nat 1 and another failure. 2 failures, 3 successes.
Oh,
Against
I'm dead.
all fucking odds, with literally a less than 50% chance to live. I'm not sure I'm not a mathematician. I'm not sure what the exact odds are for him to have gotten the same 50 or below, or 50, in this case, 50 or above roll 3 times in a row, and for him to not get 3 failed death saves before he was stabilized.
The probability is very low.
And yet, the motherfucker did it. Survive, 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 survive.
Excellent. So, what does Lucien see as she finishes her procedure?
Lucien, what's his? The body twitches.
I'm gonna signal everybody to back the fuck away, and I'm gonna be like right there. I'm gonna follow everything that Dr. Knight has done.
And I will have my axe ready just in case.
Yeah, start calling it your child.
What's his, as you ready your ionic axe and Lucien, you back away. The body twitches and ink begins to dribble down the side of the face.
I think she meant like everyone else back away. She's gonna be it
Yeah,
next to him.
everybody else back away, not me.
All right. In that case, ink dribbles down the creature's face into your lap, staining your clothes. As the creature gurgles and coughs, and the ichor begins to calcify.
Should just. I know. Just give it a second. It's gonna be okay.
You hear stomping on the stairs as the Oathbreakers, who you had called for reinforcements, finally arrive. And you can see one of them raises their blade
I'm
at the
gonna hiss
creature.
at him. Just.
They look to you, for direction.
It's fine. Stand down. We defeated it, and we also stabilized it. We're going to see what happens.
Lucien, the calcified ichor, as it had done with Red, begins to form a cocoon. Caleb, as you arrive at the dungeons, you see there is a small firing squad of crossbow-bearing rogues. They look to you as you arrive and look a little nervous, and an older-looking Tabedran nods as you approach. Glad you're here, Your Majesty. I heard your elf friends calling for backup up there. The Knights in Black went up to help, but it's been a hot minute.
Hmm. Okay. We should probably go down there and see what's going on.
He looks a little nervous, as do the rest of the guards, but eventually he swallows, wipes some sweat from his head, and as you wish, Your Majesty. Lucien, you hear much quieter, more tentative footsteps on the stairs as Caleb and the Tabedrans arrive. Caleb, you see and Lucien are coated in ink, Lucien especially, and Lucien is now cradling a humanoid cocoon in her lap of calcified ichor.
She's petting it and like comforting it, and she glances at Caleb and just like with her other hand just kind of signals him to just stay where he is, stay away.
Yeah, we beat it, and we then may have managed to stabilize them. So, in a way, the king, well, the old king might still be alive. We'll have to see how this works out.
No. What are you doing? Why are you trying to bring back the one that tried to kill us all?
Because we
That's
went
who this is.
Yes, but we made all that effort to get the king back. He got assassinated. And that seems like a lot of lost work.
Well, it's unfortunate that it is lost and it's an unfortunate situation, but we cannot make a monster and call it the king to fix
no.
that, can we?
He will not be the king. Or they. I don't know how their gender is going to turn out. But what we can do, if they have similar memories, the queen will still be content. And you can use your original idea of sending them away.
Lucien simply nods. That was my idea this whole time. I was saving the stabilizer for something else, but
very well. If this abomination can placate the queen, then it will make things much smoother for Tabedra.
And it will help your people as well, because some people may see him as the king. And if he says that you are king, then maybe they will follow.
And
if they're anything like the king, they will never say that.
Oh, no. But even then, if things go south, we just kill this one too. He went down easy-ish the first time.
Lucien,
we could do it again.
Let
us not talk about such things.
Don't even think about it.
I said worst case scenario, like say they attack us when they wake up.
I don't think that they will, but let's just give him time. You're giving him like you're not even giving him a chance to hatch before you tell him who he is.
I said I'm willing to give it a shot. I'm saying worst case scenario, this is what happens.
Yeah, I wonder what role he's doing. I wonder how he's determining which is going to be the more dominant one out of the three.
Oh, I'm going to laugh so hard if it was what Haley, Hannah,
Haley.
He did have some very strong feelings about things.
I know.
Oh yeah.
But I can still help. I can still do this. I just need you guys to trust me.
Yeah. I trust you.
She looks over to Caleb.
If they do try anything and they don't serve any purpose, If it's not the king that comes out of there and or they try something, they're dead. Even if I have to have these guards rip you out of this room to do it.
She's just gonna turn her attention to the not respond.
Okay.
Well, I guess at this point I'm going to watch the cocoon and Caleb.
And
Alright.
Caleb.
With that said,
Caleb was
battle.
told being nice won't make a good king.
Mhm.
Yeah, but you also can't be a fucking tyrant.
It's all about the balance.
Yep. But he's young. He'll figure it out eventually.
Yeah, he's got time. That said, battle has been narrowly averted. What battle did occur was resolved seemingly without casualties.
Well, many casualties.
What do the three of you wish to do now?
I will wait.
I will all of my and current all of my going.
You are breaking up.
You're breaking up, but I assume you're just watching the cocoon.
I'm doing what I've been doing, cradling it and giving it all of my attention.
All right. Caleb, what would you like to do?
Caleb will wait and see what happens.
Okay.
How long did it take last time for Red to hatch?
He cocooned overnight. So it depends on whether three souls can stabilize the same speed. Perhaps it'll take longer. It's hard to say. Again, you're going into territory that even Dr. Knight and the other Iker researchers never achieved. You have achieved something that Dr. Knight would likely call a medical miracle. You managed to bring not one, not two, but three people back to life in a single body.
I just gotta do 4.
I'm sure she'll be impressed. Where is Dr. Knight? Do we see her or hear from her?
No,
We never
last
checked in
any
on
of
her.
you heard. Yeah, last any of you heard, she ran off and said that she would get out of the city if things went south. Otherwise, she would just stay hidden.
All
Yeah,
right.
you can always send her a message.
Yeah, sure. I'll send her a message. Tell her, kind of summarize what we've summarized, that everything is okay and that we're in the tower. And I kind of created a Iker miracle, and she might want to see this.
Well, we're in the dungeon, not the tower.
Whatever.
Well,
Well,
technically,
I
it's
just
both.
well, I don't want her going to the wrong spot.
Well, I mean, she's already sent the message.
There's only a very brief pause before she simply responds with, "I'm on my way."
All right. I'm gonna look to Wuz's. I'm not sure how long this is gonna take. Why don't you go ahead and take a rest? So that way, when Dr. Knight gets here, maybe I can take a rest too.
Well, I'm good for now. I don't really Did he even hit me? Like my health is at full, so I'm like, I'm fine. I'll keep guard for now.
All right. Everyone, knock a day of rations out of your inventory.
Yeah, I'll say that Lucien will curl up with the cocoon and just, use her 4 hours to go take her long rest.
Okay. As the three of you survey the cocoon carefully, the guards and knights eventually disperse, returning to reinforce the defenses. Eventually, after not long, only a few minutes, Dr. Knight arrives, case of medical implements in hand. And the moment she sees the cocoon, you can see her eyes sparkle with motherly love.
Yeah. Lucien just kind of like wakes up from her nap. Look what I did.
I've always wanted grandchildren. She runs a hand over the cocoon, and it was her doing. The elvish woman, wasn't it?
Lucien gives.
We don't know.
I think.
It was her.
Think it was, but I also think maybe it's the king's stubbornness too. I think that's
Well,
what gave it up. Actually,
I think she meant about how like being dead triggering it.
She gives a nod.
oh yeah, no, that was the elvish girl.
My guess is it might have been the that hound.
Maybe he triggered it. Yeah.
Yeah, it would be a great distraction if he helped her, do what she wanted.
Maybe. They did say he was sighted in the tower, wasn't that right? This must have been what he was after.
She couldn't have possibly done it herself. She was left bound.
Did y'all check her mouth for any poison capsules?
I'm assuming that would have been done whenever she was first chained up.
Not to mention, why bother waiting if that was true? Seems like she, well, hates y'all.
Yes,
Within
but
good
if
reason.
if someone gave me a way to get my revenge, I would at least do the one thing they asked of me. So, and if they asked for a distraction after an assassination, well, they get what they want in the end.
I don't know if the Icar Beast knew exactly what it was doing, except the thing that stood out to me was that they said that we took everything from them, and that is something that both the king and Kaleli would feel, which is why I thought that this would work. And she looks down to the cocoon. Can't believe all of my study actually came to fruition.
They both believed that someone took things from them that they took from themselves.
Maybe so, but
Well,
that's how the mind works.
you can't really change someone's mind, Caleb.
You see the world in a very beautiful way, sweetheart, but creatures like this tend to be selfish.
She gets a nod, but I had to try, you know?
I originally was going to call this the Shade, but no, now that I think about it, Shade's a good name for it. Part thief, part elf, part gangster. All sneaky like.
I like that.
You'd like that, wouldn't you, sweetie? And she runs a claw over the cocoon. We'll call you Shade.
I like the name Shay, actually.
Mm-hmm.
They're all crazy.
I don't know how long it's going to take for the baby to come out. We'll just have to wait and see.
Well, I know the last one we had happen, which was a three-way work, lasted a night.
I guess
It's
we'll have
not
to see
much.
then.
Yeah, it's not much to go off of, but
Yeah,
it's the start.
we're in uncharted territory, my dears. This is unprecedented research. The Scar Concord would quite literally kill everyone in this city to get their hands on this.
Well, it's a good thing they don't know.
Lucien kind of like brings the cocoon closer to her.
I don't have any intention to turn any more of my children over either, sweetheart. Shade's family now.
Well, that was quick.
And she promptly sits down and starts busting open her case, looking like she is going to content herself for the night with just studying her new grandchild.
Yeah. I imagine Lucien's just kind of like, other than fussing over the cocoon, just like taking out her own notes and just like they're totally nerding out together.
Oh yeah,
Night.
I'm gonna be right back to go get food.
Go ahead. The night slowly passes. The three of you, and Dr. Knight watching over the cocoon creation, which Dr. Knight, as mother of all Ichor beasts, has dubbed Shade, being a mixture of a thief, a criminal, and the king of thieves.
Well, better than his original name.
I like the name Shade. I
No, I
actually
said
knew
said
somebody
it's,
with that name.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's better than the original name that it had when it first was
Yeah,
born.
Tabedra's king.
Yeah, very unoriginal.
Eventually, as you all carefully watch, stopping only to meditate, taking shifts to keep watch, you all get a long rest. Zephyr,
Yeah.
as you awaken and give a stretch, everything's fine, nothing to worry about.
Oh no, there's some knife at your throat.
I wouldn't be
What would you like to
surprised.
do, Zephyr?
I wouldn't be surprised, but I guess I will I will make sure to contact Red with the sending stone. I'm trying to think how I should word this.
Yeah, you don't want to futz up this time?
Yeah. I only get one, so got 25 words.
Alright, I'm back. What I
You
missed?
can always ask Lucien for help. God forbid.
Well, you're not here. Plus, this is personal for him.
And you got a long rest, so put that on your character sheet. We're just picking up with Zephyr real quick.
I guess I'll ask, how close are you? I have a job for you.
Zephyr, the response comes about a minute later. Funny story that. I'm here. Managed to slip past the guards. I'll be waiting by the hole in the wall.
Oh. Oh yeah.
You really got to talk to those guards after that.
Forgot the zombies have gone.
No, they
No,
should
they're-
still. They're 24 hours.
Well, when did you cast it? That was at
Like-
nighttime.
I cast it in the middle of the battle, so they should have a few more hours to them.
That was like at nighttime.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I got it. Don't worry.
That's fine. I was just thinking to myself. I guess Zephyr will go see Red.
All right. As you walk out, it is a very chilly day. And you kind of brace against the wind chill. Your boots no longer keeping you warm as you pass those to your father. It's windy. You can see the Tabedran flag, jack-o'-lantern visage shining proudly. The flag's still standing after being threatened by an army that outnumbered them 7-1. It's freezing and windy, but it's home. And you make your way across Rosewick and eventually reach the hole in the Tabedran wall. And sure enough, you look around for a moment before you hear a voice hiss out of the nearby alley. Sorry for making you wait. Red slithers out of an alleyway and leans against the wall, eyes darting side to side nervously. You guys increased security. Wouldn't have made it if I didn't get my sneakiness from you. What'd I miss?
Well, we almost had a big. Let's just say we almost had a big fight with some of the big players, but it was avoided. But I managed to get what I need, and now want it to be safe.
He simply gives a nod, crossing his arms. You see his eyes kind of narrow slightly, but whatever it is he sees in your statement, he does not directly call you on. You said you had a job. What do you have in mind?
Well, first off, I don't know if I didn't really exactly tell you when I gave it to you, but you should have a vial on you.
He rifles through his pockets, but then eventually nods and retrieves it.
I guess I like that back, but I guess if he has no objections, he will take the vial back.
Yeah, he simply hands it over. Although Red does give you a teasing smile, and I hope you didn't just call me back because you forgot your stuff and not me.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I've thought about letting you keep it. Not really something I need at the moment. There aren't many situations where I need blood. But, no, I guess I called you in for an escort mission.
My favorite.
My favorite.
Not exactly my line of work, but I can make do.
Yeah.
What you need?
Well, if you need any equipment of sorts, I don't mind paying for that. I'm sure that there's something you can find here to be of use. But other than that, I just need you to take. I need you to take my father to a particular location.
Your father, the king?
No.
Ah. So it went well then.
Yeah.
You have a place in mind?
I was gonna do some research, but I procrastinated. But you know of not sure the name, but there's a kingdom in a swampy area that is owned, I think it's under the rule of Sun Dragon.
Ah. Yeah, I remember. It's close to our enemies, but easy enough to hide in. You sure that's where you want him?
Well, not sure where. I prefer not to keep him here. So, and the king and the ruler there owes me. So, I simply wish to pay on that date. That
At this, Red gives a smirk, but after a moment gives you a surprisingly very serious nod. Will do.
but like I said, if you need any paint or any equipment, give the word.
He thinks for a moment and eventually seems to come to a conclusion that satisfies him as he looks to you out of the corner of his eye and well, 10 gold so I can get myself a blade.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, I'll make sure the man eats. I'll carry him if I have to. After that, you want me to wait there or come find you?
Well,
What I miss?
Zephyr is meeting up with his weird Icker son and telling him to take his
Yeah,
birth
take it.
father and take his birth father to Sun Dragon to hide out because Zephyr seems concerned that his father may be in danger.
Interesting.
well, after that, as long as I guess you'd make sure that he is secure there, but make sure it talks to the king or I think they're lord there, but either way, make sure that they know that this is my side of the bargain. After
Understood.
that, I guess really free to do whatever you wish.
You can see his eyebrows actually kind of shoot up at this. The two of you stare at each other for a moment. And eventually he simply nods. I'll have to give it some thought then. I'll keep him safe. Want me to run him by you before we go? Say goodbye or whatever?
I guess so, and you will pull out how much I actually got here. I got a lot. Yeah. You will give Red. I think the equivalent of the 50 platinum, right? How much gold?
50 platinum and gold would be, I think, 500?
Yeah, that'd be 500.
Yeah. Sounds about right.
Times 10.
Yeah, you will hand him 50,000 or 50 platinum.
Red looks down at the platinum coins, kind of counts them over in his fingers before giving you another quiet nod. Well, shall we go fetch him then?
We shall.
And the two of you begin to make your way to the lodge. As the two of you arrive at the Bear's Lodge and throw the doors open, heading inside, Caleb's cousin simply steps aside to allow you entry, although she does give Red a kind of curious look, not seeming to recognize him. However, Zephyr, you do note that sitting at the bar in conversation with Miezdu is Rahutai and Bernard, Caleb's father. And the moment the door opens, you can see Bernard looks over his shoulder like he's concerned about something. And the moment his eyes lock on you, he pats Rahutai on the shoulder and whispers something to him before standing up and meeting the two of you halfway as you cross the lodge. Zephyr?
Yes.
He stares at you for a moment before kind of clearing his throat. I know that we haven't exactly gotten on the best, but what happened? I heard that the meeting went south. I looked everywhere to find Caleb and couldn't find him. Do you know where he is? Is he safe? Is he okay? I haven't heard anyone saying he's dead. I figured that'd make news if he was, but I figured you'd know better than anyone.
I mean, may I ask if you said you heard what happened, weren't there?
I promised my boy I'd stay out of trouble until it was safe for me to be seen. But I heard screaming, so I went out the window. And by the time I got there, all of you were already gone. I searched everywhere for my boy and couldn't find him. I'd worried about the worst, but I figured if I waited here long enough, somebody would find me and let me know.
Mm. Well, as far as I'm aware, he's fine. Last time I saw him, he was in the castle.
All right, I'm going there now.
Guess good luck with that.
He considers you for a moment before giving you a small, respectful nod and nudging his way past you and simply stomping out of the bar. And as the door shuts behind him and you and Red start continuing your journey, Rahutai calls out with Bernard's shot glass in hand. I guess you don't want this then, mate? He kind of grumbles, and you can see him downing the shot as you pass him. Lucien, what's his, and Caleb.
Yeah, it was just
See,
like,
my
is this
son.
thing ever going to decide what it's going to do?
Caleb, I need you to be a little bit more patient, okay? Let's see. Let's try you. You know, coming to birth, okay?
Pretty
What's
sure it
his
didn't
as?
take a whole entire day.
Yeah, it took 9 months. Much more
Oh,
reasonable.
God forbid it takes an entire day.
Oh my
Not how
goodness.
long it takes to actually be born. It takes like a couple hours, from what I understand.
No, it takes a lot longer than a couple hours.
It
It
depends.
To come
depends on
out
I had
the
a-
of
baby.
your, to
I had
come
a
out
friend that was
the
in
womb.
labor for 3 days before she had her baby.
Oh shit!
So I don't want to hear shit.
Well, you're going to hear shit anyways.
I know. I'm just goofing anyway. So,
Goofing and gaffing.
yeah.
What's is you're disturbed out of your meditation by the two of them arguing, and as you look over, sort of nonplussed by the debate, all of you fall silent as you hear a.
Yeah, I imagine Lucien's head snaps to attention to the cracking, and just like, oh my goodness, and like just like get like prepares herself to meet her child.
Dr. Knight, who had not slept throughout the night, looks down with bloodshot eyes, but a wide, the tired grin of a mother who looks like she just went through the process of delivering this baby herself.
Yeah,
As you and her cradle the cocoon, as Caleb and What's is, you see cracks begin to run from the top where its head used to be down, like a glacier beginning to split.
Lucien will just like give words of encouragement, like, yeah, you're doing so great. Come on, you can do it.
Dr. Knight licks her lips, and somewhere between the love of a mother and the mad fascination of a scientist.
Yeah, same with Lucien though. They are the same person right now.
They are a bird of a feather.
Yes, exactly.
One of the greatest works of Encostum Chameleonidae. Be born, Ickerbeast. Shade. And Caleb,
Are
you
there any
see.
Are any of the guards still around?
There are a couple guards stationed just in the dungeon. There's not really any prisoners, but they're more just keeping watch on the situation.
Okay,
Oh,
maybe we'll just tell them to stand by just in case.
they do not need instruction to do so, as they just nod for you. Recognize these as the two who had come running to inform you of the situation. The one
But,
who,
sorry, go ahead.
the one you recognize having been clawed during the attack is now wearing an eye patch and scowls at the cocoon as they level their crossbow.
Just a
Lucien will kind of
precaution.
Lucien will kind of give a hiss at them and then look at Dinah. Wait, do they get my last name?
They don't carry family names, sweetheart. I don't even know if they're gonna be able to recognize any of us, but I've always been able to get them to listen in time.
She kind of nods. I'll follow your lead.
You all watch as pale golden fingers emerge from the crack and cling to the cocoon as they begin to force it to the side. Another pale golden hand does the same to the other half.
Lucien's gonna try to resist the urge to help.
As calcified ichor crumbs and ash and dust of ichor warps into the air, clouding the air around you in this warping quantum dust of ichor black. Shade, the newest ichor beast, rises from the cocoon, arms cradling themselves as their form begins to finalize. You see crouched before you, like a freshly hatched infant, a figure that is almost entirely unrecognizable as the man who now comprises a third of its biology.
Is it more recognizable as the person whose body that formed from?
Yes, you definitely see traces of Halele. However, the gold is unfamiliar to either of them. You assume that may be a part of the tertiary.
Lucien will just be like, "Welcome, Jade. Welcome to life."
The creature tilts its head. You recognize elvish ears as they appear to take in what you're saying.
Certainly not the king, I'll tell you that much.
I'll look over to Dinah, just kind of like not really sure what else I should say.
She just raises a hand to you to keep quiet as she holds her claw out to the creature, who turns its attention to her. As all of you take a moment to observe it, and the creature stares at the outstretched claw, seeming unsure of what to do with it, you see that their form is humanoid, a little bit shorter now than the king was in his newest form. About 4'5" by the look of it. Their hair is recognizably the king's red, a little bit darker than the king's more bright one, but still recognizably red. However, it's a lot shorter than it had been before. This one recognizable as neither Halele nor, again, you don't know what the tertiary looked like. This looks a lot more like the king's hair that you remember, just straight instead of curly, about shoulder length. This kind of dark red. Their eyes are still green, but possess that elvish, complete lack of pupil. Just green orbs sitting in the socket.
Oh my
I
god,
didn't
they
know
look like
that.
Lucien, basically.
I didn't know elves had eyes like that.
Mm-hmm.
How do they perceive light?
They do have pupils. They just kind of blend in with the surrounding sclera, so it looks from a distance like they don't have pupils. Because basically, it's just minorly different shades.
Okay.
You can see they're wearing leather bracers. Caleb, you recognize these as Tabedran armor. Their skin is visibly humanoid, but again, it's this odd kind of goldish tint to it. Their face is... Oh.
Caleb's like, it's a good thing they come fully formed with clothing, apparently.
Dr. Knight gives you a smile and a nod. That was a fortunate side effect. I didn't have to train him to do that. I think it's the same reason that ghosts have clothes. It's how they
Yep.
perceive themselves.
Yeah.
Well, definitely keeps things simple at first. I can't imagine what happens whenever you mix two completely different. Oh, you know.
That's a whole different experiment. Lucien's attention is like fully on Shade, but she's replying to him.
Their nose down is covered by a bandana. Again, Caleb, you recognize this as something a Tabedran highwayman would wear. Although this one has a unique, more ornate design. It has the Tabedran orange with the yellow, jagged jack-o'-lantern mouth decorating it, wearing the Tabedran flag as part of their mask. And they are wearing a very thick-looking Tabedra orange cloak. However, you can see markings of white lining it instead of the usual markings of gold. There's jewelry around their wrists. And as they rise from the cocoon, you can see in one hand they have the familiar cudgel, and in the other, what appears to be a elvish glass dagger.
Would I recognize this dagger?
From a historical perspective, or like just it being elvish?
A more historical, like, would it be like military grade, like
Roll
something
history.
everybody gets?
Yeah, yeah. I just wanted to confirm. Roll history. I was basically trying to determine: are you trying to see if this is an artifact, or yeah? So yeah, roll
Oh,
history.
so it's glass?
Yeah.
Is it like obsidian?
It is basically because remember, wood elves typically don't like to make things out of natural things. They started a unique thing of basically blowing glass to create a lot of their weaponry. It's magically tempered, but that way they do not have to use any natural woods to stabilize it.
I thought they mostly used metal because they don't use wood.
They use metal for construction, but they prefer to use glass for weapons.
Probably very fragile weapons then.
Like I said, they're
as he said, magically tempered.
Yeah, they're tempered with magic.
I got a 15.
Yes, you recognize this as being of wood elf make. They are typically constructed out of glass that is shifted via planar travel. As Caleb had observed, while most teleportations do not leave traces, those that access other dimensions will often leave natural traces behind, such as glassing if they're sitting on sand. You recognize this as being a special glass that wood elves use by going out into the desert, doing powerful teleportation rituals to either summon something from another dimension or going there themselves, and then using what the residue left behind to temper unique glass weapons. These weapons are known to be incredibly powerful, and you note, or rather, at least for the wood elves, they have a history of being incredibly receptive to chemical tampering. When you poison a dagger, that poison will at best last you for a couple hours. Poison an elvish dagger, that can last you for months, but potentially longer if you do a good enough job of coating it.
I believe they specifically like to use like poison-tipped arrows, if I remember the mythology correct.
Yes, that is true. During Perusian elf wars, the elves would commonly poison their arrows and infect enemy armies with diseases. As the creature's form, Shade's form, finalizes,
I'm just gonna very, very, very kind and loving expression, and just give a hi, Shade.
Dr. Knight again kind of jerks a hand to you, and as the creature's attention kind of keeps shifting, you recognize that its behavior is that of almost a frightened animal, like it's not quite sure what to make of its surroundings.
Yeah.
It's confused and scared.
Mhm.
It's an infant.
I'm gonna watch Dinah and see what she does.
Look at me, sweetie. Look at me. Shade turns their attention back to her. Come to Mama. And she holds out her arms. You don't know if it's something natural about her or perhaps the tampering she's done with the ichor, but Shade kind of leans towards her and falls to their knees as they are still adjusting to walking in a bipedal form. However, as they do so, they do reach out to Dinah, but their hand kind of stops and their gaze almost imperceptibly drifts towards Caleb.
It's okay. Don't worry about them. Just
Wait. Shush. Shade stares at you for a long moment, Caleb, and I remember you.
Caleb kind of looks to the guards. Doesn't say anything, just kind of looks to see if they're still, set.
The one with the eye patch looks kind of confused, and the one next to him, it seems very clearly just distracted taking in their form.
yeah, Lucien will just kind of Caleb, just
You're important. They turn to Dr. Knight. Who is he? That's your brother, sweetheart. Or, I guess your uncle? Yeah, something like that. He's family, sweetie. It's okay.
Like uncle,
Yeah.
son.
Yeah. Family. That's right. I remember. Your family.
Lucien gives a nod. That's right.
Where am I? Where am I?
Lucien looks to Dinah, not really sure how to answer that.
You're in a castle. You just woke up. I know your brain's probably a little foggy, but you'll get the hang of it. I'm missing someone. Someone else is supposed to be here. Where are they?
He's coming.
It could be the Queen, Lucien.
They are coming. I don't know. Who?
What is my name?
Shade.
They squint and tilt their head, their ears flicking side to side as they take this in. Shade.
That's right, sweetie.
Or if you want to have a little bit more fun with it, I will tell them the Elven equivalent of Shade. And see if they even recognize the Elven language.
Indeed, almost instinctively, they slowly nod. Yes. Shade. Will they come if I wait here?
They should.
I really hope.
Eventually.
I really hope so, sweetheart.
They nod, you watch as the cocoon around them begins to fade into calcified ichor, no longer sustaining the creature as it begins to take on a life of its own. Against all odds, the three souls have found their compatibility and are coexisting.
I'm gonna
Turned out pretty well.
I'm
I
gonna
might say.
stand up slowly and offer to help them up. Careful.
They take your hand, and Dr. Knight helps them stand up, and they find their footing.
Good.
They lean on the Tabedran cudgel, what was once the relic of a kingdom, now used for its actual intended purpose as a walking stick. And
There you go. Does that
sheath
help?
the dagger on their belt. Yes. I need to find them. I need to find them.
Well, patience. You don't look probably like they remember, so we don't want to startle them.
And, you know, if you're lost, it's best to stay exactly where you are so they can find
I'll find my way. They'll protect me. They always protected me.
I know exactly who he's looking for.
Yeah, no, Lucien just made the calculations in her head, and I'm gonna look to them. Give me a second. I will contact them, and then I'm going to send a message to the just simply saying he looks a little different, but he's alive.
Again.
And looking, and then I will add before the spell ends, and looking for you.
You feel the message is sent, and you have no reason to believe it's not received. But you don't get a response.
Yeah, they're probably not sure.
I look to Dinah, not really sure exactly how to explain what I just did, and then look back to Shade. I sent them a message. They know that you're here, and they know that you're looking for them.
Is this wise? They don't exactly look like them anymore.
I did mention that.
How do we know how they're going to react to this?
If it's really love, sweetheart,
It won't
matter.
Lucien just kind
I'm
of
just worried about the other possibility.
We'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
Right now, they're stabilized. They don't appear to be hostile.
Mm-hmm.
Are you hungry, honey? I crashed and said,
You're cutting out, love.
hello.
Basically
Hello.
asked if they were hungry.
We got the gist. And
Just
Shade,
asking if they were hungry.
yeah, Shade looks to you and no, I can wait. Yeah. Dinah nods and helps them sit back down. And again, seemingly almost on instinct, they enter the position of elvish meditation. As their bodies' conflicting instincts are slowly finding the compromising middle ground.
Mm-hmm.
And the three of you, unless you want to do otherwise.
I'm just gonna turn to Caleb. I guess now we wait and see if she even wants to come back. She might be, too angry at whoever tried to kill him in the first place.
Caleb will just leave.
You're welcome.
And Wessis will go towards the upper part of the stairs just to keep an eye out to see if the queen shows.
Can I say something to Dr. Knight as they leave the room and they're basically alone?
Mm-hmm.
Lucien will just kind of sit crisscross and just put her head in her hands. I bring 3 people back to life, and it's still not good enough.
Doctors don't do what they do for people's approval, sweetheart. They do it because it's what you're supposed to do.
I wanted to do it. Don't misunderstand.
Well, then what else matters?
Is it so crazy to want to be wanted?
You live a life like me, sweetheart. You learn that some things just can't happen. Some people are just born, and she pulls at her goblin ears, and nobody wants them. That's just how it is. But I'll always want you.
She kind of gives a smile at that. I try so hard to win them over, and I can't get it right.
She just gives you a sad smile, and why do you think your mother ended up in this mess? She looks to Shade, who's watching the two of you's conversation with a tilted head. I thought maybe the Ichor could change that. Make people see me differently. Well, suppose it worked. People were scared of me instead of trying to kick me around for sport. But
If it means anything, now that I've gotten to know you, I think you're a pretty great person.
she just gives you a smile and runs a hand along Shade's shoulder and thank you, sweetie. But I just got to work on finding peace with myself. That's what matters. All that matters is me, all of y'all, and him.
Lucien gives a nod. Do you really think I could tell Lucifer about what I can do?
She gives a kind of shrug, seeming uncertain on the answer herself. He's unpredictable, sweetie. I've never known him to be the most rational thinker. But I remember all he wanted was to further what he could do. And I think if you tell him you figured it out, the trick will just be convincing him that you'll help him. If you want to lie to him, you can. I won't say a word, sweetie, but you're going to have to decide what you want to do before you tell him. Because if you go to him with an open mind, he might try to bring you around to his line of thinking. He was so happy when he realized the experiment worked. But if you go to him with lies in your heart and on your tongue, all that's going to do is convince him that his sister really did die that day. And all I managed to bring back was something that looked like her.
He's always been everything. You know, we've been through so much together, and this last, 5-10 years, this guy has poisoned his mind. I don't even know what or why.
She just gives a small smile and kind of blows some of her hair out of her eyes as she.
I mean, for maybe her hair, maybe.
You're cutting up, but.
I was just saying that that she'll move over there and braid her hair.
Just focus on what's best for yourself, sweetheart.
Don't even know
You're
what. I mean, I spent a long time running from that. I didn't stop and think about what he was going through.
everyone's going through something. Our family especially. And she nods to the door. Your brothers too. All of them. You weren't the only one where someone came to me crying, begging to bring them back. And you weren't the only one that got turned away when things didn't go the way they wanted. And leaving you with those words, she just pats your hand on her head and allows you to braid her greasy hair as she tends and kind of fusses over Shade.
I got some like soap, but I'll just like dry shampoo or whatever, and I'll just like put in some like conditioner.
Zephyr.
Mm-hmm.
As you and Red ascend up, I'm assuming you're heading to your father's room?
Correct.
Okay. You make your way up and head inside. You see your father is in the bed, seeming kind of just in thought about something. Seems kind of surprised whenever you come in. He looks a lot better than he has been looking. Still a little rough around the edges, a little skinnier than you, a little damaged, but he does give you an earnest smile and is able to stand to his feet and approach you and pulls you into a hug as you enter the room, and Red snakes in behind you. As he pulls away and looks up at Red, he kind of stares at your creature for a moment. Who's this?
I guess the best way to say it, they're acquaintance of mine that is going to take you somewhere.
What?
Well,
Take me somewhere? You want me to leave?
well, I'm not staying here, and I don't really trust it here. So,
That's okay. We can go somewhere together. I'll come with you.
tempting offer, but you'd only just you'd only get hurt worse.
He kind of takes a step away from Red and grabs your scaly hands and kind of turns you so that you're facing away from Red so that he can look you in the face. Son, against all odds, against everything the great dragon had cursed me with, he brought you back to me. I can't walk away from you again.
Hmm. What will I do if you end up dying in the battle that seems to occur?
I'd rather something happen to me than something happen to you. A father's job is to protect his children. It's not right for you to be out there fighting this battle for me.
Well, if that's the case, in some weird, twisted way, you can protect Red.
What?
Well, complicated, but Do you know about the specialty of the blood?
I've picked up on it from you and your friends' conversations.
Wow. It's
It
inside.
affects
Yeah.
creatures on this world differently than it does us.
Mm-hmm. Well, do you see any similarities in him?
Your father turns to kind of observe Red a bit closer now. Red kind of just stares back. He has your face, your scales, your colors. And after a moment, Red speaks in a completely Zephyr deadpan of humor. Hey, Grandpa. Oh. I
These
see.
strange times we living in.
Yeah.
or like I think like 7 or something. 7-year-old, like, oh yeah, here's my son.
Yeah, you're fucking like,
Oh,
yeah, I think now,
9.
you're now 10 or 11-year-old child, just like here's my son who's bigger than me and technically older than me.
Yeah.
At least the component pieces are. Gotta love Jigsaw children.
It's all in the technicalities.
Some eldritch shit, man.
I mean, yeah, literally.
Uh,
Zephyr, roll persuasion.
Persuasion.
How persuasive is Zephyr?
Let's find out.
Honestly, not very. You would think you would be, but
He's not good at persuading people to give him things. He's better at just taking things.
yeah, but like he's a good business person, just but or at least he knows business. I got 17.
He sighs and turns to you with a resolute expression. The sternest you've seen the otherwise frail kobold look. I'm sorry, but no. If you force me out, I'll just come back. And I'll always find you again. I'm not leaving you to fight this alone. This battle happened because of me. These creatures you're up against are coming into being because of me. It was my mistake that created all of this. You are the one thing I have left to show for it. And he puts his hands on your shoulder, but then after a moment of thought extends his hand to Red, who looks a little uncertain, but then takes the smaller kobold's hand. We are not being separated again.
Then may I ask what could you do in this fight?
He gives a smile. I remember things. I remember things from the prison. That scientist that experimented on me. She talked while she did it. I remember some of what she said. And some of what your mother passed to her is in me as well. If that elvish girl, she seems smart. Maybe she can learn to use my blood. Fight monsters with monsters. Make some of our own.
Funny thing about that.
You say you created this new child, and he smiles at Red. Then that means we can do it again. That means you inherited what ran through your mother. I'll write down everything I remember. I can help you. But I will not abandon you. Never again.
Yeah.
realize as you gaze at him that your father will not yield. If you force him out, he will simply come back. Tell him that you don't want him here, he'll simply follow from a distance.
I would rather him be next to me if he's gonna be close to me, anyways.
But I'm proud of you. This means that you're staying then. You're seeing this through.
Oh, not sure about staying, but I was gonna get some business towards securing your safety, but
He pulls you into a hug. You've spent far too long protecting me. He pulls away, but his hands stay on your shoulders. He looks you up and down. You are special. And I'm proud of you. You and the newest addition to our family both. The fact that he would have protected me at your word tells me everything I need to know. About him and about you. And he smiles as his hands drift to yours. I may not be the fighter that you are, but I will follow wherever you go. Even if it means into whatever this place calls an underworld. I'll find you, and I'll follow you. I'll carry you if I must. If you want to see this through, then I'm going to see it through with you.
well, does complicate things.
He simply gives you a small smile. I'm unfortunately rather known for complicating matters.
Oh no.
Oh, see where he got that from.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, convincing you seems like it's not really gonna happen, but I
Nope.
was wondering one thing.
Oh, yes, anything, son.
I've been going by Zephyr Tabedra, but do we have a last name?
Oh, I see. He smiles and takes your hand. Well, in truth, we don't have family names in the traditional sense, but he kind of thinks for a moment. You get the impression this is an issue of, given that his culture is literally like not even of this planet, he's having to kind of think out like how to explain their naming scheme in a way you can understand. We take our name after the beast we live upon. The great dragon that guides us through the stars. It's the name of our people, not necessarily of ourselves, but he smiles, and I believe in the tongue of this world, it would be Hawkthorn. Yes, Hawkthorn.
interesting.
But Tabedra is a perfectly fine name, and I think one that the people of this world would respect greater.
I'm not here to look for respect, of course. There are times where I see people do have show disrespect, but usually it's not towards the name, it's towards my size, and they think I'm capable.
Well, you'll prove them wrong. I know you will. You already have, as far as I'm concerned. You may be small, but you made your way. I can't even imagine how far to find me again. And now you're fighting in a war that extends so far beyond us, for a world that isn't even yours. Your companions may not see it, but I do. You care.
Well, you might be seeing more than even I can, but well, I guess I'm gonna look over to Red. Well, I guess it changes things.
You're
You
not
keep
expecting a refund, are you?
no, I wasn't expecting that. You can keep the money.
His
Plus,
expression breaks into a smile and he gives you a nod. What do you
yeah.
need?
Well, I figured the money could be good for all the trouble we've caused you.
It wasn't so bad. Managed to pick some fun pockets on the way.
But I mean, unless you wish to join us, then I don't really have a job for you.
There it is again. That freedom. He kind of licks his lips and his gaze darts between you and your father. I'll take some time to think about it. I'll keep in touch. Your father gives a smile and a nod. You are family to me. Red, was it? My door is always open to you. As are my pockets, although I'm afraid you'll find little of value there.
Well, I was gonna give you money, but for the journey, but I don't know if you need it now.
I'll make do. I'll get back to you. He seems really thrown off by the amount of freedom you've given him and is kind of contemplating what he wants to do next. With that, he gives your father a respectful nod and you a small smile before slithering out of the room and shutting the door behind him. Well then. You're the head of the family now. What do we do next? Wherever you go, I'll follow.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll go. I guess we'll see what the others are up to.
I'll follow your lead. And he gives you a broad smile, seeming happier than he's been in a while.
Man, he did the same. Zephyr did the same thing that Avaven did, or tried to do.
Speaking of, Caleb,
Yes.
as you make your way down, brow furrowed and deep in thought over everything that's transpired. As you come out of the halls of the dungeon and make your way to the castle doors, you're almost thrown back as the castle doors are forced open, and you can see the guards kind of visibly complaining as you see an unexpected trio barging into your castle.
Oh.
Queen Tabedra, her gaze wild and hair messy. You get the impression she didn't sleep last night.
Yeah.
She simply looks to you and, with a free hand, signs out. Where?
I believe they're down in the dungeon. Be prepared, this is going to be a lot different than last time.
She hesitates a bit, her hand kind of twitching. You turn your attention to why she's only signing with one hand, and you see she's carrying Summer over her shoulder, who appears unconscious, red hair messily trailing down the queen's back.
Lucien
Shouldn't
can
she
back.
be with... Do we have a doctor in the castle?
Yes, her name is Lucien.
And Dr. Knight.
Yeah.
The queen just waves a hand and signs. She's fine, just asleep. Found her in the street. And Caleb, you turn your attention to the last of the unexpected trio as the queen starts just moving past you to get to the dungeon, although she does visibly hesitate a bit and turn back to you. As the final trio, Bernard, who instantly breaks into a relieved expression and pulls you into a hug. Oh, thank the gods. What happened out there? I heard screaming. I came out to find you, and you were gone in the wind. The king is dead.
So it would seem. Unexpected things have happened. I had to deal with immediately. And I was in the dungeon all night.
He sighs in relief, and you can feel the warm hand clenching on your shoulder, him seeming to have the forethought to not do so with his metallic one. Don't scare me like that.
Where were you?
I was in my room like I told you I'd be, but when I heard the screaming, I went out to see what was going on. Next thing I knew, everyone was saying, the king's dead, and I couldn't find you anywhere. I searched all night.
I'm sorry about that.
It's all right, son. I'm just glad you're safe. The rest of your companions, are they safe as well? I ran into your brother.
Everyone seems to be fine for now.
What about the soldiers? How did the battle go?
Turns out you don't know about that? That happened before the king died.
He just shakes his head.
We dealt with it. The situation was pretty much dealt with until what happened to the king happened.
Oh, that's good to hear. He smiles.
You says
Glad to see you inherited my eye for diplomacy.
Hopefully it will continue.
I'm proud of you. And he pulls you into a hug.
I
So
thought I'd
proud of you.
see you there. You had the mask. You could have been there and still hidden.
He just shakes his head. I promised you I'd stay put. And stay put I did, at least until I thought you were in danger. Hope you can forgive me for that, seeing as the situation got resolved.
It's fine.
How did he die, if I may ask?
He was killed by... Was it an arrow or a bolt?
Arrow.
By an arrow from this assassin they call the Wolfhound.
Ah, I've heard the name. So he's real then.
He's certainly been real. The stories I believed he's certainly been around for a very long time.
we'll just have to stay on our guard then, won't we? But hey, anyone who assassinates the King of Tabedra can't be all bad, eh?
The queen's still there for all that.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Carlos, I didn't want to deal with it this way.
It wasn't your fault, boy. He pulls you into another small hug and finally releases you. I'm just glad you're safe. It's all that matters to me. He looks over your shoulder and scowls a bit. Yeah, and rises to his feet, and you see he's looking at the queen, who's scowling at him in return. With everyone looking at her again, she looks to you, and her expression almost imperceptibly softens, and she again hesitates with her free hand before. Thank you.
Don't thank me yet. We still have to see how you react to how different things are. But as far as we could tell, he's in there. There's just might be two other people in there as well.
As long as it's him, I'll find him. And you tried. That matters.
I feel like we need to get this situation settled. The people are going to be concerned if nobody knows who's actually running this show right now.
She adjusts her grip on Summer, and my word is my bond. I'll take him with me. Her as well, if she wants it. And she kind of adjusts her grip again.
I'm sure she will. She was very... She didn't take you not being there very well while the king was sick.
You can see her gaze kind of soften a bit.
She worried constantly and drove her crazy. She was obsessing over trying to help the king. Probably as much out of loyalty for him as maybe as much as she thought it would bring you back too.
She smiles a small bit. Truly my blood. Thank you. She hesitates, and you get the impression there's something she wants to say that she just can't bring herself to. So she settles with adjusting her grip a final time to free up her hand, forming her hands together into the shape of a heart.
Oh.
She can't bring herself to say the words, but the intent gets across.
Caleb just nods. I appreciate everything all of you did. You may interpret my ambition as ungratefulness.
She just smirks a little bit. You wouldn't be your father's son if you weren't ambitious. That's the one part of him I can still see in you.
For what I understand, both my fathers have had this.
You're damn right. She flicks her gaze to the man before back to you. I'm sorry we couldn't love you the way you needed. You can see her almost flub that word as she considers her word choice before settling on needed. And
Well, Caleb would just I guess Caleb will look to his father and be like, is Mia doing the twins worried too?
He gives a bit of a small smirk, and in truth, they were having to convince me everything was all right. Said that, what was it? They said, there's no way he would have died that quietly. And at this, you can actually hear the queen let out a small giggle.
No, that's certainly true. But anyways, I'm sure despite their words, I have a feeling their minds are probably quite different. Let's go check in on them.
Lead the way.
I'll let
And
my companions deal with this situation. I trust that they will find the best resolution.
the queen simply begins to step down the hall, carrying Summer over her shoulder without another word. And Bernard just smiles and braces against your shoulder again. Well, let's go let everyone know the good news.
Oh, by the way, there's a talk we're going to need to have that all this serious stuff happening kind of got in the way of it.
Well, suppose the trip to the bar is as good a time as any, unless you prefer that we're not sober for it.
I guess we can do it as we walk.
All right. And we'll switch scenes in just a moment, but as you begin to walk towards the lodge, he puts his hands in his pockets and smiles to you. What's on your mind, son? And we will come back to you.
Oh, okay.
What's his? You hear the telltale of heels against cobble. And you see the small Tabedran queen making her way resolutely up the tower stairs, carrying an seemingly unconscious Summer over her shoulder. She doesn't even look at you. She just elbows her way past you and starts trying to open the dungeon doors.
Yeah,
You stop her?
I do not. I will actually help her by opening the door for her before she even got to it.
As
I
you
know
throw,
there's no stopping her.
yeah, as you throw the door open, she actually does pause very briefly to give you a small jerk of the head before stepping inside. And as you and the queen step inside, you see Lucien and Dr. Knight braiding each other's hair, and Lucien kind of giving an improvised wash to the goblin's ever greasy head. But Dr. Knight, seeing the queen step in, kind of visibly swallows a bit. You can see the queen narrow her eyes at the goblin girl before.
I'll just like kind of like protectively like stand above Dr. Knight and just look at the queen. They're right here, and I'll point to Shade, who is meditating. They're sleeping right now.
Shade's eyes shoot open, and the gaze of Queen Tabedra and Shade land on one another. The queen cocks her head to the side. Shade does the same. Cock to the other side. Mirrored. Finally, their heads return to their resting position. The reunion isn't as instantaneous this time, almost like the two are sizing each other up. But eventually, Shade slowly rises to their feet, and the queen's gaze flicks to the cudgel in their hand.
Caleb did warn her.
Mm-hmm.
I remember. You're important. You're the only one who's important.
Aw.
At
Still
this,
a flatterer, apparently.
The queen breaks into a wide smile, and she runs much more gently this time than she had before, and embraces Shade, who,
Good.
after a bit of hesitation, returns it.
Guess it makes sense. She is a changeling, so like appearance probably isn't that important to her.
Yeah, and for reasons that for basically lore reasons, she has an almost instinctual connection to the king. As long as there's even a fragment of his soul, she will always be able to find him. Again, it's for lore reasons that I won't get into right now, but yeah, she will always find her king.
I kind of got that. That's why I was like,
She pulls back and looks Shade up and down, who just smiles to her in turn. Not the flattering smile that the king would give her, this bright, happy, genuine one.
Mm-hmm.
It's been so long. How did they bring you back? The queen
You want
tilts
the
her head to the
shorter
side.
version or the long version?
Lucien just kind of hisses at him to shut up.
The queen signs back. What do you mean?
Well, remember the elven girl that was down here?
The queen
This
gives
is
a
part of what remains. We were able to stabilize them after they went out of control.
The queen gives a kind of slow nod, not looking discomforted by Shade, more just kind of confused. But Shade, seeming oblivious to her confusion, just powers on. They killed you. I remember.
Oh,
The king was not the only person in there who had someone important in their life.
yeah. No, that just clicked in my head. Interesting.
We have all the memories.
They killed.
Remember the guy that we killed?
Yeah, the whole thing is that Haleli hates you because you killed her husband for trying to rob you.
I can bring him back to life, but this seems fine.
Find his body.
I'm gonna look to Dr. Knight, just kind of like, I don't want to lie, but like, I also don't want the ramifications.
The
All what's
queen
important is that you're back.
the queen gives a small grimace and signs out. It doesn't matter. I'm back now. And so are you. We're together. And she pulls Shade into another hug, who, seeming to accept the explanation, hugs her back with a wide smile. The expression of somebody who suddenly has everything they need in the world.
I'm just Lucien will grin at Dr. Knight, just like, look what I did.
Dr. Knight gives a smile and pats you on the side. Love conquers all.
This gives me hope.
The queen lifts Shade up, bridal style, setting Summer gently down on the floor, although not going to the trouble of propping her head up.
Yeah, I'm gonna go over to Summer. Does she look like she needs healing?
She looks minorly injured, but the injuries seem pretty superficial. It just looks like she's deeply asleep, similar to the queen. She was likely up all night.
Gonna pump a little bit of healing into her. I just pump a little bit of healing into her just to give her a little boost, little magical boost.
As you pump healing magic into the Tabedran princess, she stirs in her sleep as the burns on her face slowly fade. And she slowly, kind of blearily opens her eyes.
Her eyes.
Why am I back here?
I'm just gonna quietly move my head so she can see her mom and Shade together. I did what I could.
She seems to kind of wake up and come to herself as she shakily clambers to her feet to stand in front of her mother and looks down at Shade, who looks at her with a kind of quirk of the head. Is it really him? Queen Tabedra gives a nod and pulls Summer into a hug as the reunited family shares an embrace. Perhaps the only three people in this family who truly loved one another as much as a family like this could. Never outsiders to each other. Thank you. Thank you. And Summer just cries into Shade's chest, and Shade just kind of looks down at her with a kind of curious expression, but does pat her head.
Lucien just starts to tear up and just smiles and just puts her hand over her heart, not really saying anything, just appreciating the moment.
The Queen gives Shade a kiss. Shade's eyes kind of flicker, and you can see a wide smile come over their face as she gently sets her lover down and turns to the two of you and signs out. Thank you. You can see a wide smile on their face and tears in their eyes.
Now, I think the only thing to do now is to give up the throne and give it to Caleb.
She gives a small curtsy. As a lady, my word is my bond.
I'll give a little curtsy back.
Summer looks to the Queen and to Shade and before back to the Queen. Mother, this is everything he built. This is everything we built, yes, but he matters more than a fort.
Why don't you guys go back to Tabedra Farms? We took care of the curse.
At this, Queen Tabedra and, to your shock, Shade both snort in unison.
Yeah,
Where it all
come on,
began.
Lucien. They're not going to go back there. Those weren't exactly pleasant memories.
I mean, they can make more memories.
Yeah, some things you can't overshadow.
Shade gives a nod. I remember. That place was Nav made manifest. The Queen gives an enthusiastic nod as well.
Yeah, Lucien kind of gives a wink. Well,
The only good place, the only good thing that place gave me was him.
well, if you need somewhere to go, you're welcome to go to Sundragon.
I don't even know if they'd feel like. Where do y'all want to go? Y'all are a new reunited family.
The Queen gives a grateful nod to you, What's-is, as she glances to you, Lucien, and signs out. Thanks, but no thanks.
Hey.
I fought long and hard to make it this far. I want to get him away from what you're up against, not towards it.
Yeah, that's understandable.
I've seen what you're up against, and I know you're going to lose. And with that, she turns to you, What's-is, and gives a bit of a shrug. Wherever he wants to go, I'll follow him. But we're probably going to try and get away from here. If we get to the other side of the world, maybe he can live a long, happy life before she finds us.
Well, it'll definitely be a longer life now that they're part elf. Don't know exactly everything about them that's changed as far as that goes,
I
but
look
I
forward
have
to
a good
finding
feeling
out.
about it.
She gives a smile and nods as she reiterates, I look forward to finding out everything. And she takes the king's hand, her daughter's in the other, and looks to Shade, as does Summer. Shade looks kind of taken aback for a moment before you can almost see this glint in their eyes as some part of them seems to register they're in charge. Gather your things and help me figure out what my things are. We'll leave under cover of darkness. I don't know why, but I feel like I'm supposed to... I need to find a few more people first before I leave. You can see them straining to try and sort through 3 different lifetimes of memories.
Mm-hmm.
But the queen just nods and kind of gently tugs on them to bring them back to Earth. Summer smiles. We're with you. Dr. Knight gives a smile, wiping some tears of her own from her eyes.
Yeah, Lucien's all like Miss little sniffy sniff.
Yeah, they grew up so fast.
Yeah, so proud.
Y'all take care of my baby now. The queen kind of gives an amused smile, but does give her a nod. Always. Come on, Dad. Let's go. And with that, the Queen and Princess of Thieves lead their once king away from the dungeon in which they've been rotting for months to freedom.
Can I follow just to make sure that no more arrows come their way for a bit?
Probably a good idea. Good call. Go for it.
And I'll
Can
even
you
let the queen
can you
know that
catch an
that's why
arrow
he's
as a
following.
reaction, Matthew?
No,
Monks
but
can.
he
Yeah.
could take an arrow.
Yeah.
He
Like-
owes Summer that much.
Caleb. Your father looks to you with a gentle smile, allowing you to speak at your own pace whenever you're ready, as the two of you make your way across the courtyard, out into Rosewick and towards the Bear's Lodge.
Well, yeah, Kale's gonna be like, so I meant to tell you, but then everything kind of started that me and Dimitri had a talk. I know
His
you said that
expression
you
kind of
have
sours,
issues.
but he
I know
listens.
you said it's something you don't like about them. And maybe I know. We had a long talk, and it seems, I don't know, the way he feels about things is different to the way we feel about things. But I'm convinced that there, in his own way, is genuine care.
I just don't know, Caleb. He reminds me too much of his former majesty. I see the same look in his eyes. Everything is calculated with him. Doesn't that bother you?
At first it did. He was honest about it, that things are different for him. But I asked him if, quite frankly, I asked him if he would miss me if I was gone. And he said that something would be missing if I wasn't with him. And that convinced me that he does care, even if it doesn't care in the same way.
Your father
Would it
bites
make
his
you
lip in
feel any
thought.
better if I told you he said the same thing about you?
That doesn't surprise me, little sneak. But if this is where your heart truly lies, then, well, Who am I to stop you? Just be careful, okay? People like him, they break hearts.
Well, I probably wouldn't be the first one of my age to go through something like that before I got to adulthood.
Sure, but I'd rather you have to cry into a pillow than bleed into one, you feel me?
I'm not too worried about that. Besides, I know all his tricks.
He doesn't look sure, but he does kind of give you a nervous smile and pats you on the shoulder. Well, if it's my blessing you're asking for, then you have it. I won't stop you.
The two of you are the most important. You're the most important. Well, I guess technically. Okay. I'm trying to think of the term because, like, his father's grown, but his, Dimitri and Caleb are not.
People, men.
Yeah, we'll go with that. You're the most you're the most important people in my life right now. And I can't have the two of you, about to get into a fight or something.
I'm not gonna pick a fight with a child.
Well, you might not pick a fight now, but who knows? Maybe in a couple years, we're still together and we're still having these issues, and I can't have that. I want to deal with it now.
If he manages to last that long before he cracks, then I just have to give him credit for a good con.
And I'm sure he'll say something similar about you, because he seems to believe you're also trying to get something out of this.
He gives a bit of a shrug, and
You're definitely very pushy about. You've definitely been very pushy about getting our family into that castle.
it's what we deserve. It's our castle by right.
And I do agree. It's just that I think you can forgive him for having some misconceptions about that. You certainly were never quiet about wanting higher station.
And I don't plan to start now. If he has a problem with your butt being on the throne where it belongs and me being right there beside you, then let's hope he looks forward to being a court jester.
Father. That's what he meant. Both of you are just concerned about. You certainly are both two people I would be weakest to in terms of if one of you did want to manipulate me.
I would never do that to you. And I'll do my best to keep you safe from him. But
you don't need to worry about him.
I'm always going to worry, son. Especially now.
Look, this is exactly what I mean. I can't have this between you two constantly. It'll probably drive me insane.
I won't pick a fight with him. But I'm certainly going to defend myself if I find myself with a dagger at my throat. But if you ask me to lay down and take it, I'll take it.
I don't think he'll cause any problems. I think that's very thinking you're so worried about is why he wouldn't. He knows it wouldn't do good to cause that kind of conflict.
He snorts a little bit, but again, sighs and...
Besides, I'd be hard pressed to find people in Tabedra who don't think like that to some extent.
At this, he actually is rather quiet and simply gives you a small nod of acknowledgement.
Is there still a bit more walking to do?
A little bit, but is there anything else like prevalent you want to say?
Caleb was gonna. I thought this was what Caleb was gonna say. Now then, are you? Just to know, are you sure there's nothing between you and your new friend? You two certainly do like sharing a room.
Oh, I'm certainly open, but like I said, it's just force of habit. We were sharing a cell for years, son. I haven't had to sleep in a room without him since I lost you. It's comforting, that's all.
Well, you know me. I wouldn't be one to say anything.
I should certainly hope not. This is the third age, after all. But no, you'd be the first to know. Well, besides me, I guess. And he kind of chuckles a bit. If anything like that was happening, I swear to you. And he does like a mock salute, putting his metal hand over his chest and his organic one in the air.
I'm not asking you to make any kind of promises. It's whatever. I just
Oh, no, no, no. I can see his royal majesty doesn't trust me to make his own decisions. I swear on your throne.
wouldn't it be
We
funny
just
if we bumped into the guy like mid swear?
we just share a room. He keeps me feeling safe, reads to me so I can fall asleep, and that's all.
For now.
That sounds like a relationship to me.
I know, right?
Yeah, it's just like maybe for now.
Like I said, I'm not against the idea, but. And his face kind of hardens a bit. We're both going through an awful lot.
I understand.
He lost his entire family, and up until now, I'd lost mine. That's actually something I wanted to talk to you about.
Yes.
I was hoping not to have this conversation sober, but it might be best. Now that the battle's over, what is it you're planning on doing next?
Well, first things first, I need to make sure Tabedra is secure in its position and that there aren't going to be any more challenges to deal with. Then, well, I had a couple of ideas. One idea was I was going to, well, since we're going to be part of this alliance that's going on against this Concord people, figured I might as well do what I could, try to see if I couldn't possibly at least start maybe bringing other people in line. I was thinking about sending a message to the Tsardom, to see if the conflict between Tabedra and them could be resolved.
He gives you a smile and ruffles your hair. Well, when you possibly maybe do that, parroting your words back to you playfully. I
Thing I was going to do.
can't wait to see it when I get back.
You're going somewhere?
Like I said, Ray's been through an awful lot, and when he found out that one of his family was still alive out there, your friend, the little frog,
Oh yes, Kero and her menagerie.
he gives a smile. He wants to go find her, and I'm going with him.
I was hoping you would be here to help me, but if this is something you must do, then I won't stop you.
He stops your walk briefly to kneel and put his hands on your shoulder, looking you directly in the eye. You know I wouldn't do this if I thought I had any other option. But I can't lose either of you, Caleb. And things may be different, but he's my Dimitri. And I can't let him go out there alone, especially when neither of us know what this world is like anymore. But I promise you, we will find her. And once he has his family, I know he'll bring me back to mine. and I will find you again, and we will face down this Concord together. I promise.
Okay. It's just one thing I ask.
Anything.
Something I've been wanting to ask. You remember when I was younger, and I sometimes had nightmares about the things that happened when I was young. The fighting.
He gives a sad smile. Of course you can, son. Already knowing what you're going to ask him.
What did you think I was going to ask?
He just smiles and stands up and continues to walk, although he keeps his warm hand on your shoulder. Share a bed for the night?
Like old times?
Of course. I'm sure he won't mind for one night.
I'd been wanting to ask since we first got back, but you've always been with him every night, and I didn't want to say anything.
We have the rest of our lives to figure this out, son. He smiles to you and squeezes your shoulder. You have me for tonight. I'm just going to make sure he gets to Little Caro safely. And then I'm going to make my way straight back to you with both of them at my heels. I promise.
Alright. Trust me, you won't miss her. Just look for the train of animals following her.
If she's anything like what he's told me, yeah, she'll be hard to miss. At this point, Zephyr, making your way to the castle, you meet each other halfway. Caleb, you see Zephyr crossing, heading in the opposite direction of you. Bernard simply gives your brother a nod and a small smile. Zephyr, he seems a lot more relaxed now that he's found Caleb again.
Yes. Everything's dealt with or something?
More or less. We're just gonna let Mies and the girls know that we're all right. How's Pokey? And he nods to as he sees your father, who's, you're naturally kind of going to be a little bit faster than him, but he keeps pace with you as best he can, and he gives Bernard a smile.
I'll make sure. Of course, I'll make sure to keep up with his speed.
No, yeah, I know you're not like blitzing ahead of him. More just like, his walking speed is like a half yours. So
That's ironic.
no, yeah, there's a reason he has a name that means slow, and Zephyr has a name that means fast.
Wait, who has a name that means slow?
Pokey, Zephyr's dad.
Oh.
Yeah, his parents were Pokey and Mosey.
His name meant slow.
Yeah, Pokey means like poking along, and Mosey is moseying along.
That's ironic.
Oh yeah, Pokey simply smiles and better now. The two of them have a brief, casual conversation, but eventually part, as if there's nothing between the boys, you make your way to your respective destinations.
Guess I'll ask Caleb. What's our next move?
Well, we make sure everything's finished up here, and I don't know, I figured maybe we all might need a little bit of time to rest while I'm making sure everything is, down pat here. If it is me who's going to be king, I want to make sure everything's secure before I leave.
Well then, I guess.
I have messages to send as well.
Yeah, and you need to figure out who's going to be in charge.
Yeah, I'll need to figure out a plan for that. Someone who can at least maintain things while I'm away. I'm sure we can find some way for them to send messages if I'm needed.
Bernard gives a nod, and Pokey seems a little lost on the politics of it all, but nods enthusiastically to make it seem like he understands. Well, given that your family, if I understand this world's system correctly, shouldn't my boy be in charge as well?
But I have a feeling he's going to leave too.
Oh, right. Relax, Poke. We'll figure it out. The Vays were meant to be in charge of this
One
place.
idea.
Plus, I'm not really interested.
Wait, who was
ruling.
supposed to be in charge?
Your father was just saying the Vays, which is your last name. The Vays were meant to be in charge of this place. Basically, because you're royalty, you'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And that is how every empire always crumbled.
I had one idea I had was maybe I should. I'm a young king. It would be reasonable that I would have advisors. Maybe I could pick some people to represent the other cities or something.
How about Miez and the girls? They may not be proper laves, but they're close enough, I reckon.
Yes, but I don't know. I don't know how the people would feel about the blatant nepotism.
Certainly a far sight better than what they were dealing with before. They'll make do.
Well, I have some ideas.
What you say goes, Your Majesty.
I have a very long. Since I'm starting so young, I'm going to have a very long time at this. There's a lot I could get done.
Your father smiles to you, as does Zephyr's, and Zephyr Pokey kind of nudges you and, well, son, we had business in the castle, yes?
I guess I'll see what the others are up to.
With that, as the fathers and brothers share their parting words, they make their way to their respective destinations. Caleb to deliver news of your safety to your family, and Zephyr to see what exactly your allies have accomplished. As you make your way into the castle and up the stairs, Lucien, as Dr. Knight is packing away her medical supplies, the door is opened once again, this time by Zephyr, accompanied by his father.
Before he enters, I'm gonna ask Dr. Knight if she has any extra vials or any extra syringes.
Plenty, sweetheart. Why?
Oh, I just wanted to see if you had any other stabilizers.
Oh,
And in cases.
I'm gonna have to brew up some more, I'm afraid. But now that the danger's passed, I should have plenty of time to do that, I reckon.
Can you teach me?
It's a complicated process, but I'll do my best.
Yeah, and what's this would actually, as I said, he was following the queen and all of them around, at least for the time being, just to make sure that no more assassin attacks. At
Fair
least
enough.
until they're out of the city. Then they're on their own.
As you escort the royal family around their castle, they seem completely unwilling to be apart from each other for even a minute. They go into each other's rooms and pack one at a time. But those who are not concerned with packing busy themselves with doting affection on the others.
Aw.
And Lucien, you see Zephyr enter with his father as Dr. Knight has finished packing. Pokey scowls at the doctor, who just kind of nervously darts her eyes in every direction before just, well, I should probably get back to the lab.
Yeah, you probably should do that. I will talk at you later. I'll
Sweetheart?
I'll turn to Zephyr and his dad. Well, it was a shot in the dark, but I managed to help. They're upstairs packing if you want to say goodbye.
Not sure what you're talking about, but before Dr. Knight you leave, I have a question for you.
Oh, what's that, sweetie?
Something's been... After the whole encounter, I've been wondering something. You mentioned that our blood should be stable, right?
That's correct.
And may I ask, why is my blood still not stable?
At this, she tilts her head to the side. Is it not?
I mean, I asked because you said that we couldn't infect others.
She leans forward. Did you infect someone?
If I remember correctly, I told you about them. The three-way I mentioned?
Oh, now I see.
That was...
You had me worried there for a second, sweetheart. No. That's different. See, being contagious and being unstable are different symptoms of this sickness. You can spread it, but because we've discouraged it, it won't try to overpower. Does that make sense? Now, it may have had some unpredictable results when fused with 2 other souls, but your blood, as far as I can tell, doesn't seek to spread itself. It just coexists, if that makes sense.
What you're implying is while they won't turn to Ichor beast, they'll still get the Ichor blood.
That is correct. But it shouldn't pose a danger. As far as we've seen, stabilized victims don't turn when they die, which means the souls pass on cleanly. So you may pass it to others, but it's asymptomatic. That's doctor speak for nothing bad happens. Does that make sense, son?
Not sure if nothing bad happened, considering when I gave
Well,
it to someone, they died.
I think it's more of the sense of it doesn't spread.
It does spread.
She kind of does that like hand motion of but eventually politely folds her hands over her waist and looks to you, Zephyr. What is it exactly you're worried about, sweetie? I can help.
Whenever you described it, I thought it was mainly that we couldn't infect others, but...
Oh, I see. I'm very sorry, sweetie. No, yes, you may be able to pass the contagion on. It just won't do anything. The ichor will just linger in their blood. Now, like I said, there may have been an unexpected side effect after introducing a 3rd soul, but like I said, ichor beasts that compose of more than 2 is so unprecedented, there's no telling what potential effects may happen. I've never seen a 3-way combo that was anything more than a monster. I've only succeeded at making them stable twice, but so far, the stabilizer has proven capable. So I think worst case scenario, if someone gets infected with your blood and dies, they'll either die peacefully if they're not able to cohabitate with your souls, or it's possible they may come back, for a little bit at least. Live out a little bit longer of a life before they pass on. More of a blessing than a curse. That's what I meant it to be. when I made it.
Well, could have been the way it was delivered, but I don't think it was really peaceful whenever I gave it to them. They died pretty quickly.
I'll have to conduct some further tests then. I'll find an answer to this, sweetheart. I promise you. Mama's here. She adjusts her bag. I
Didn't
guess
she say she could make it so that it was incontagious and stuff? Not that it was automatically going to be so.
Yeah, she said it was basically, yeah, she, or rather what she was trying to get across, at least whether she did successfully or not is up to your interpretation, but what she was trying to get across is that she can't stop the ichor from being in your blood. So yes, if your blood gets into someone else, there is just going to be ichor in their body. There's nothing she can do about that. The alternative would be removing the ichor from your blood, which would probably kill you. But she has made it so that even if that happens, unless the person dies, it is completely devoid of any symptoms because the blood isn't trying to spread. It just basically malignantly hangs out in your bloodstream. And then when you die, if there's a chance of compatibility, there's a chance you might get resurrected. If you're not compatible, then you'll just die. But now that Zephyr has introduced that there's a potential for further infection, she will be testing this further. After all, again, Red and Shade are completely unique beings, effectively. The only other three-way combination you found that was stable was Subject Theta. And even then, stable was kind of in quotation marks. You know?
They were relatively stable.
They could talk and think and didn't attack everything they saw.
Tolerable of each other.
Yeah, the souls could be roommates.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they were roommates.
Oh my god, they were roommates. Dinah.
We're gonna be some weird fucking old people, man.
Dinah puts a hand on your shoulder, Zephyr, and gives you a reassuring smile. I'll get to the bottom of this, I promise. Zephyr, do you have any final business?
Not with Dark.
Okay. With that, she adjusts her bag. Guess Mama better get started then. And she kind of nervously leaves the dungeon, Pokey not taking his eyes off her the entire time as the door shuts behind her.
Guess I'll look over to Lucien. So what exactly happened?
Well, Haleli got killed, so she turned into a monster, and then they got mixed with the king, and then they got into a bigger monster. Then we killed that. Then I stabbed him in the eye, and now they're alive again. So he died, he came back, then he died again, then he came back again.
That sounds exhausting.
Yeah, they're upstairs packing, like I said. Wasn't even sure it was going to work, to be quite honest with you, but I'm glad it did.
Yeah, not sure about that, but
What do you mean?
just the whole. So now they're like what, a third of the king?
Does it matter? I mean, they're together and they're happy. Does it matter?
I mean, really, it doesn't. But they're being happy doesn't change much. Either way, I guess as long as it's not a problem, whatever.
Whatever it is, seems to be okay now. That's what matters. I'm going to go find someone to think and you don't have any use for me, so just
And well, I guess not necessarily I have use for you, but I more seems my father here seems like he was stubborn to continue on this journey, and he might be able to help you with your research.
Pokey gives a broad smile.
she kind of smiles and looks at Pokey. Ah, so it runs in the family.
Sounds like it.
Pokey gives another smile, though this one's a little bit more bashful, and
I'm gonna go over to him and offer Lucien.
Pokey. I may not be a doctor, but when that, and he glares at the door again, when that creature was experimenting on me and my friends and family, I heard her talking to herself. I remember a lot of what she said. I might be able to help you learn to make more of these things, learn to control them like she does.
That would be the pinnacle of my.
But let's keep this a secret from the quack.
She kind of gives a an understanding smile. I know, but I'll do my best not to hurt you. I don't want to hurt you. I like you.
I can handle a little pain. And he gives you a smile. You know, as much as you two seem to be at each other's throats, I can see he's rubbing off on you.
What are you talking?
It's nothing, dear. I suppose we should get started. I'll tell you everything I can remember.
Let's get somewhere where I can spread out my. We'll get this started.
All right. Unless, do we need to do anything else, Zephyr?
Well, you're gonna come along with us. Is there any gear or is there any kind of weapons that we'd be able to use?
Oh, I'll have to think about that. I used to be a good crack shot with a sling. Of course, I'll have to adjust to this world's gravity.
You're not from this world?
Thought he said that.
He never went into the specifics, just that they're not from around here, basically.
Yeah, they only told Zephyr the full
Yeah. Lucy's just kind of like, wait, what? This was major information he's been missing.
Well, I suppose we have a lot we'll be teaching each other then. Do you want to come with us, son?
I need to make some preparations, so y'all can
All right.
enjoy that.
Stay safe, okay?
And Zephyr,
Yes.
thank you. And I'm
Zephyr, you are left in the dungeon as your father and Lucien head out to conduct some further research. Lucien on the sudden reveal of the existence of alien life, and him insisting that he may be able to, from memory, under the duress of torture, recall Dr. Knight's research enough to replicate it, allowing you to potentially create your own Ichor Beasts.
that would be so fucking awesome.
We're just turning the entire Gyokran army into Ichor Beasts.
And that, unless Zephyr, you have anything?
No, just I'm gonna do some shopping, but that's about it. And do off. Yeah.
And that is where we are going to end this session and the arc of Jailbreak.
That means we're taking a week off.
I don't want to take a week off.
I don't want
We've already taken lots of weeks off.
Well, that was for health reasons. I need time to plot out the next arc. Anyway,
Time to go
party-
kick Barbarossa's ass.
yeah, I was gonna say, the party managed to make it to the dwarven prison at last, infiltrate with the aid of some shady dwarven mercenaries, managed to finally secure not only Zephyr and Caleb's parents, but an alliance with Dr. Knight, who seems just as eager to be out of the Scar Concord as you are to have her out of it. Making your way back to Rosewick, you were briefly besieged by an invading army, threatened by the remaining Scar Concord, who still seem ignorant for now of Dr. Knight's betrayal. But an assassin known as the Wolfhound has struck and attempted to assassinate the king, who was only resurrected through the timely intervention of Lucien Lefakir. Zephyr's father insists on accompanying you all for this journey, never to be separated from his son again. Caleb's father, however, has business with his cellmate. The two of them will be traveling to Sundragon and further north to Blackthorn to reunite with your companion Kero, who Rahutai has, from the sounds of it, been deeply missing.
Arrow coming back then?
Again, it's in the air. But, of course, it will take time for this to happen anyway. You have assembled your first relative army. Oath-breaking knights, Tabedran rogues, and Elefakirian ghouls at your command. As the Concord has you... As the Concord...
3 ghouls, mind you.
As the Concord has you vastly outnumbered and overpowered, but you all make preparations to potentially turn the tide. It is time for the greater politics of this campaign to come into play. As from the next arc onwards, you guys are not just acting for yourselves anymore. You are now acting at the behest of kingdoms. You have to manage the needs of your people, attend to the armies yourselves rather than simply following them. And of course, you still have enemies out there. Ergos has reunited with her lover and seems intent on following her, although her loyalty seems deeply shaken by your encounter with her. The Queen, for her part, seems confident and is hosting the next ball. Who's to say what the Concord has planned for such an event with all the nobility of Yav in one place? Caleb ascends to the Tabedran throne as the former Tabedran royal family is reunited at last and seems intent on making their own way in the world from here. Families have been reunited, others have been broken apart, thrones have been taken, armies have been built and destroyed. Your enemies encircle you and make plans of their own, as the mysterious lady in white is still nowhere to be found. Her machinations felt but never seen. Your blood is stable, the contagion contained for now. But who's to say what the Concord has planned next? We will be taking next week off, but then from there, the party will finally, I think for the first time in this campaign, have some downtime.
Yeah.
And we will be beginning the next arc, Where We Stand.
Downtime for like, remember when what's his had to get his arms replaced?
Also, do we level up?
Not for completing arcs. Remember, it's for taking out the Concord.
I mean, technically,
Oh,
Already gave you the level up for that. You can't get it again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, we already got a level for level 14 now. Remember? Don't worry, we're gonna take Barbarous out pretty quick, and then we'll get another level right there.
cannot wait.
I love how Matthew just like
Giggles.
got
Okay, it's
backed
not
up.
going to be simple. He's
I
going to
have-
have something up his sleeve.
I have
Oh
exactly
yeah.
166,000 coins on my game.
Check out our website at officiald5hub.info. Down for maintenance at the moment, but soon to be resurrected from the grave like a filthy necromancer who did some filthy necromancy and actually brought back the dead.
Yay!
Really, a cleric would be pleased.
I still can't get over that I had to make 6 perfect rolls in a row to make that happen, and I did.
Oh,
And I did.
I am completely amazed.
Check out our link in chat to join our official D5 Discord server if you want to hang out with us directly. Support our episodes posted on Apple Podcasts, Pandora, Google Podcasts, the iHeart Podcast Network, wherever you happen to get your podcasts from. For our audio listeners, catch us live on Tuesdays at 7 o'clock Central Daylight Time on twitch.tv/Odd Tornado Productions. Check out Odd Tornado Productions on YouTube to catch up on what you may have missed. Check out Odd Tornado Productions Official on Tumblr to find links to our other work, including, our Royal Majesty, the King of Thieves Twitch channel at twitch.tv/killer5. That is 5 with a PH, don't get it wrong. If you enjoy what we do, please support us on Patreon. That link to be posted in chat. On Ko-fi at kofi.com/oddtornadoproductions. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/tornadoodd, the TNOR capitalized, to get immediate updates whenever we go live, as well as updates on everything else we're working on. And if you want to see more of this party, plus or minus a few, tune in Mondays at 7 o'clock Central Daylight Time for our Monday game, Under Locks and Keys, featuring a party of globe-trotting treasure hunters that are trying to assemble the artifacts of the gods in a race against technology-worshipping cultists. We are actually coming close to the final chapter of that campaign. Depending on how our next episode goes, we may be entering into the final chapter soon. So I recommend you get caught up. It's going to be a lot of fun. Thanks everyone at the table so much for playing. Thanks everyone at home so much for watching. And we'll see you all next week.
Ugh.